Well, I would say good morning because it is a good morning here in Kampala, Uganda. We are at the media center where we do have an update from the Pamoja Local Organizing Committee here in Uganda, giving us all the updates that we need to know ahead of the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations. Uganda will be hosting with Kenya and Tanzania. Now, joining me is the chairman of the Subcommittee, the local, that is the Communication and Signage Committee, and Dr. Denis Mugimba. Then some people are going to be watching us from different time zones, but I'll still say good morning and how are you?
Very fine, thank you, Clive. Good morning and morning our viewers, wherever you are.
Maybe I should start by asking what inspired today's dress code. The young people in Kampala would say a satirical meeting.
I think just to feel easy, when you're interacting with the public, sometimes the suits tend to put us off. So we want to come across as, welcoming and, be Ugandan. This is part of the souvenir that I was talking about. Someone can buy as merchandise.
Of course, I was also going to say that it's a good representation of our country. Yes, to just give us an update. This week, we are going to have a delegation from CAF, led by the acting General Secretary, Samson Adamu, but also delegates from Kenya and Tanzania, members of the local organizing committees of those respective countries for a two-day retreat or workshop. Just help us exactly understand what is going to transpire.
Okay, so we are calling it a workshop. CAF has called it a workshop, but the key thing is to prepare us to do a good job in delivering AFCON 2027 competition by putting focus on the priority areas. The issue of safety and security. You've been in all these tournaments, issue of infrastructure, issue of media, because these tournaments feed off the media. You get the media equation wrong, you're done. Issues of how do you handle the competition and procurements, the ticketing, etc. So all these are the preparations they are going to help us become ready for. But we hosted CHAN 2024 last year. So one of the things they are going to share with us is from their view, how did Pamoja perform with CHAN 2024. So we take lessons from CHAN 2024 into how we can do a better job with AFCON. So that is very, very key.
Maybe let me take you back. That should have been a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
There was a retreat that was organized for the Uganda in Signage.
Yes.
What exactly was that?
Now, first of all, let me give an apology because we were supposed to have invited the media. The media was supposed to sit in because there was nothing confidential. So you were supposed to come in and listen to the deliberations. Part of what we did was to reevaluate ourselves as a local organizing committee on how we performed on CHAN. Get the lessons from CHAN 2024 hosting and see how we can use them to improve our planning for AFCON 2027. For example, one of them that we realized was that we needed to be more proactive in coming up with updates and engagements with the media and public on what we are doing. As instead of it being reactionary, only when there's an incident, that's when you come up to engage the media. So now we learned that lesson and have reserved adequate resources to ensure that at least twice a month we engage the media and come up with public updates on our preparations for AFCON 2027. So that was a lesson taken from CHAN. The other big one was that it takes a lot to execute certain activity like branding the country. You don't do it in a month or two to the tournament. So we've come up with a robust roadmap of a strategy for branding and signage, and you'll see what a difference it will make. Then also making sure that we map media houses that will give us the most mileage in communicating with the public. So we are going to be much more strategic in our engagements with the media, which is not something that we really did very, very well for CHAN 2020. So that is something that you ought have had an opportunity to hear from us for during that local organizing committee retreat that took place at Chigo. Of course, we also reviewed on our progress on infrastructure. We also looked at how can we improve our working relations as a committee. given the lessons and the chemistry we saw in Chan, how can we do better with AFCON 2027? But again, our apologies. We should have let the media.
We'll let that slide. Of course, at this 2-day engagement, you insisted you gave us an update in the press conference that the chairman of our local organizing committee, the Minister of Education and Sports, for the longest time has been insisting that there is need to have a dialogue among the staff.
And by the way, for her, when she says dialogue, she has said we have to let the public know what we want to do. We have to let the public know why we want to do what we are doing. We have to let the public know how much it will cost to do what we are doing. And lastly, we have to come back and tell the public what we have done. So what we are doing here is simply implementing her philosophy. That is her nature of work. She wants 100% transparency in her methods of work as a local organizing committee. So this opportunity of briefing the media and the public is good for us. It's when the public gets to know. For example, one of the things that we did not do very well for Chan was letting the public know what is lying ahead. So you will see that change with AFCON 2027. You'll see us mobilize you people a lot more, the public, to be on board with us. But you cannot be on board with people when you do have no idea what they are up to. Yes.
So in these 2 days, first of all, how huge and significant is it that we are having this workshop in Uganda, but also what you hope to achieve at the end of the day?
It is big. One, when CAF gave the opportunity to the 3 countries, the First Lady had earlier on said we want to host these people here. So we reached out to the cabinet ministers of Kenya and Tanzania and said our doors are open, please come and be with us. Now that was huge because it means that we are ready as a country to receive guests, to receive CAF in all this preparation, and it means that we are a learning people. Because sometimes the feedback they give may not be palatable, but just like pain, when you feel body pain is good. It just tells you there's something you need to put right. So we love these opportunities, but it is a big deal that Uganda is hosting the kicks-off meeting for AFCON 2027 preparations. And a lot is going to be discussed. Those of you who have the media that will have opportunity to being invited to interview, you'll hear what will happen after the last day of the workshop. But we are going to talk about some solid stuff that is going to give us a lot of mileage for AFCON 2027.
And then also, will there be a possibility of, you corrected me earlier, will there be a possibility of having a regional organizing committee? Because we have 3 independent organizing committees. Is this one of the starting steps?
Yes, it is one of the points that will be talked about. And given again the opportunity to explain, say, you people want it to work. For us, we think it works. For example, we ought to have come up with a mascot and a theme song in Chan, but we failed. And one of the reasons we failed is that we left a lot of decision making to individual countries. So we really need a Pamoja rock would facilitate some key decisions that cut across.
Yeah, but for the mascots, I think we can have 3. I mean, the World Cup is being hosted by 3 countries, and they have 3 mascots, so we could probably...
We thought about that, then some person formerly in CAF said, then what is Pamoja? Pamoja means we are one. So yes, we've seen FIFA World Cup 2026 do that, but I think as Pamoja, we prefer that we have a singular mascot, a singular theme song.
So it's going to be one mascot, one theme song.
That is the desire, unless we again do not agree or come to a consensus position, because we already had some templates for Chan 2024, but there was lack of consensus on the final product.
Yes, Doctor, as we wind up, of course, you've hinted to emphasize the need to be accountable to the public. As we wind up, there is a lot of worries out there. Where do we stand as a country in terms of preparations for the 2027 Africa Cup?
I think as we go along this journey and periodically updating the public, you begin to really judge our seriousness around August, because as you say, we are now going to hand over all the training facilities, literally more than half of them, to the UPDF Engineering Brigade to begin work. We are sure that by October, November, those ones will be completed. Nambole works have begun. Hoima City Stadium, the Suma construction is making all those alterations that were recommended. If we get the equation of Nambole and Hoima done, we are good home and dry. And good enough CAF is not measuring us on completion, but on progress. So I'd like to reassure the public that for us as a local organizing committee, we don't understand what panic is because we are not panicking. We are ready, we have very solid plans, we have the political commitment, we have the resources, and we have the goodwill from CAF. The president himself said AFCON Pamoja will take place in East Africa. So that is a very strong reassurance.
The real last one from me, and still for the fans. I remember it should have been 7 days ago, you revealed that we are going to have 20 fan zones as a country.
Yes.
I just wanted to emphasize more on that and
Yes.
where these 20 fan zones are going to be, because I don't think we even had 20 fan zones in Morocco.
And that is why, Clive, you should have come, you and your colleagues in the media should have come to the retreat because we talked about this. The plan then was to ensure that we have 10 fan zones within Kampala metropolitan area, Greater Kampala metropolitan area, then 10 around the other cities in the country. So that is huge. And the good thing is that we have set aside the resources for this. So unless there is an unexpected turn of event that causes us to scale down. But a fan zone, it's not an office to run. It's not an office. So we can do this fan zone within the reasonable resource envelope that we have. So expect at least 10 fan zones in the country. So the issue of only King's Pride, like the Hartford, King's Park, will not suffice this time.
Well, this interview will not be complete if you don't emphasize the need that we have the money.
We have the money, but with the money comes responsibility. And what I think people already know. Mama Janet Tasaga, Talina Siasa, she walks in straight lines and sees black and white. If you receive AFCON funds, you have to account for them in terms of showing that they have done what you said they would do.
Well, you've heard it from Dr. Denis Mugimba, 20 fan zones, but also we'll keep on bringing you these updates. You need to know about the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations as Uganda intensifies its preparations. Clive Chaze is my name. I'll catch you again in the next video.